My name is Don Coyhis, and I'm the president and founder of White Bison, a nonprofit organization in Colorado Springs. What I want to talk in these next few minutes is about the forgiveness journey that we are launching on May 16th, the year 2009, across the United States. I have heard it said, more powerful than the march of mighty armies is an idea whose time has come. I think the elders call this the healing time. Our time has come. It's time for us to heal and for us to take the responsibility to do what we need to do in order for us to heal. This journey that we are making across the United States is our fifth hoop journey, the Wellbriety Journey for Forgiveness. The elders have told us, in order for us to be free from the intergenerational trauma, one of the things that is necessary for us to do is for us to forgive. Where it went wrong from us was the program that was created at Carlisle, Pennsylvania, where they did an experiment with a boarding school to bring our kids to an educational process to re-indoctrinate us, to teach us not to do the culture. We were punished if we spoke the language. We were taught to dress different, cut our hair. But along with that came a lot of the abuses that happened to many of the kids at that school. In fact, many of them died there. They're buried there. The cemeteries are there, marked unknown children. Even the names of them wasn't put on the grave sites. As these schools spread across the United States that was funded by the government, some great bad things in many of the schools happened to our communities and to our children. And this is why we are sending a letter to President Obama asking him if he would be willing to make an apology on behalf of the United States government for the government's part in these boarding schools. They made the apology in Canada and they made the apology in Australia. But for us, it's important to remember, according to how our elders said, whether we get the apology or not, what we are going to do is we are going to have to forgive. And for us, the date that we should never forget is 1879, when this downward spiral for us as Native people started. Because what we are experiencing today as a result of those schools is something called historical trauma. What those children experienced in those schools, when they came back to our communities as adults, then they taught their children how they were taught in a boarding school. And today, we now know 3-4 generations that this historical trauma that was our secret for so long, we are talking about the secret amongst ourselves now. We know now that it's tied to our teen suicides, it's tied to our alcohol problems, the internal oppression, the domestic violence, the fatherless homes, the drug abuse that's going on in our communities. We know it's tied to sexual abuse because many of our kids were sexually abused at those boarding schools. The elders told us in order for us to be free from the historical trauma is that we must forgive. And that's I think what it means is it's an idea whose time is here for us to do. We must take a look at even forgiving the unforgivable. The launch date for this run will be, the journey across the United States will be May 16th in 2009 at the Chemawa Indian Boarding School. The purpose of this is going to be for us to forgive. This, we were told by the elders, as Native people, this is our last test. With all the things that has happened to us, are we now able to call upon our spiritual resources, our ceremonies, and are we able to forgive the very people who did the thing to us? Are we able to forgive? They gave us some ideas about this forgiveness, and they call it the 4 directions of forgiveness. In the East is just your basic forgiveness. In the South is the forgiving the unforgivable. In the West is forgiving yourself. In the North is that forgiving to set the other one's spirits free. It's like to set the government free, to set the churches free. And we know this isn't going to be easy. The basic forgiveness some of us are able to do. But we have to call upon the spiritual powers when we start looking at forgiving the unforgivable, using our ceremonies, using our prayers, and using those tools that we used to use a long time ago. And for us not to remember a part of this forgiveness If some of you are like me, when I was drinking and I got into my recovery, part of that process was to set right what I did to others, but also I had to forgive myself. And then for us also to remember to forgive others to set their spirits free. This is the map of the journey as we know it. And in this journey, we will start on the 16th in Oregon, and then we will zigzag throughout the United States. On the website, there will be a lot of information on where it is and who the contact is, and we have volunteer coordinators are coming to it. It'll be publicized in newspapers and on the internet, and on our website. There are many places that we are trying to get the word out, but we're really asking you to come and to bring your children and let them see us heal, and bring your families. Many of us have lost people who have died that shouldn't have died, but now we're starting to understand the thing. We know now that alcohol is not the problem. It's a symptom of something else. The meth is not the problem. It's a symptom of something else. And we got to get to the symptom. We now know it's tied to the intergenerational trauma. So this is how you could help. On our website, if you look there, you will see that there is a petition. That petition, we want to have thousands of signatures and thousands of people supporting it. So when we go back to Washington, D.C. at the end of this journey, of which we would say if you are able to come there for the closing ceremony when we reach Washington, D.C. or the Carlisle. So we ask you to look on our website and sign the petition and write things on there that you know is true about yourself or about your family. We ask you also, as you look at the website, you see the data, help spread the word. This has to be a national grassroots movement, this forgiveness movement. And then if you are able to come to the nearest event that is near where you are, bring your families, you come there. We're going to cry. While we are there, we're going to do a ceremony at the grave sites where these kids were left, and we're going to make an apology and ask their forgiveness for us leaving those little ones there. And the second part of this ceremony is to ask all those little spirits that we left there all these years to tell them the people have come. We've come to bring you home. We want you to come home with us now. Your spirits don't have to stay there. That we're in healing and we're getting well. We want you to come there. And you can check out our website, www.whitebison.org. And it would be our wish that we really show what the grass movements can do. Us showing up and taking on the accountability to heal ourselves. We're into wellness, we're into Wellbriety. And they say it takes an entire village to raise a child. So let's get the village together. Let's get together and let's heal ourselves, and let's do this task of forgiveness that we need to do. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the road.